In the sense that we are experiencing a social epidemic right now and social change, we really are at a tipping point, y'all. We are at a tipping point, and you are sitting in a state that will legalize it in 2012. So I'd like to talk about a couple things real quickly here, because I know we're coming up on a crucial hour. The first is to just very quickly remind, I'll go into depressing territory here for a moment myself, talking about the Coburn Amendment. How many people have heard about the Coburn Amendment? Senator Tom Coburn from Oklahoma. How many people have heard that name, Tom Coburn from Oklahoma? Yep, okay. Yeah, continuous troublemaker in Washington. Actually, a very intellectually honest guy. I've had some personal interactions with him. I find him personally a pleasing person to be around. Politically, he is an animal, and he is our worst threat on the Hill. He has introduced several times now, once in 2007 and once in 2009, an amendment that would change the preemptive scheme of federal law, the way federal law relates to state law. And it would basically, it could lead to state laws being struck down, right? If this Coburn Amendment were adopted, it could actually lead to the feds going into federal courts and asking federal judges to strike down the laws, not from an enforcement perspective, but actually declaring the laws illegal, that the state of federal law has changed. And if this Coburn Amendment passed, that could happen, actually. So it's a huge threat. And Tom Coburn just seems obsessed. I mean, he did this in 2007, and then he came back in 2009 with the FDA tobacco bill, and he did it again. And so I'm going to ask for your help here for a second to honor Senator Coburn's deep interest in marijuana, and to maybe what some would even maybe call obsession with it. I'd like you to help me do a little bit of social rebranding here. And anytime you're with a friend, smoking a joint together, just two people smoking a joint together in general, why don't you start referring to that as a co-burn? I think Senator Coburn would appreciate it. Okay, now the really good news. Very, very quickly, Congress has changed. Who noticed that? Composition of Congress changed, right, on Election Day. Obviously, it's 87 new Republicans. Now, there's a hidden silver lining here in the fact that we have 87 new Republicans. A lot of people would, under traditional paradigms in Washington, a lot of people would take a look at that and say, 87 new Republicans replacing Democrats, that cannot be a good thing for us, right? Except that 43 of them were 43 of those Republicans actually replaced blue dog members of Congress who were absolutely terrible on our issues, okay? And that's not a bad deal, actually. I'd take a Tea Party conservative over a blue dog cynical Democrat who, you know, I'll take them any day, actually. And you know, I can't tell you how many times I heard, you know, from blue dog members of Congress, generally with a southern accent, "Have you seen my district?" You know, and they'd say, you know, look, I'm with you personally, but politically I can't do it, right? And so I'd take the Tea Party people who are willing to take the hit politically, forgive the pun, you know, any day over these blue dog folks. We're going to have to learn to adapt to this, though, because this is a reality that's here for good, or here for quite some time, at least, let's say. Because not only did the Republicans win a majority in Congress this time around, but they also won in excess of 680, I think about 700 state legislative seats around the country. That put them at a point where they actually now, because of the redistricting process, every 10 years, we take a census in this country according to the Constitution, and redraw the congressional boundaries to ensure proportionality of districts, that the districts are actually relatively roughly equal numbers. And what that means, it's the state legislators that do that, the state legislatures that do that. What the fact that the Republicans won 700 state legislative seats means is that they now will be able to unilaterally draw the congressional districts for 191 congressional seats out of a total of 435 congressional districts. And that is really remarkable, actually. That is quite a bit higher than the Democrats at any of their recent peaks have ever had. So the bottom line is that Republicans are going to be in control of Congress for a while. Now the good news here is that our legalization bill, and I say our because I really mean ours, This is a movement that we've been working on for a long time, and I've been very fortunate to work with Keith and honored to work with Keith and be able to fight with him, side by side with him, on this hard work that he started not too long ago, but
Before you were born.
before I was born, and I'm honored to work on that. And I'm honored to work on that with him. For the first time this year, we are going to have legislation at the federal level that would legalize marijuana like alcohol. And that is way farther than anything we've had before. At the most, in 1978, the best thing we were ever talking about in terms of legislative reform in 1978 was Ted Kennedy decriminalizing marijuana, not actually legalizing and regulating the wholesale production and distribution of it, right? And that is a remarkable thing. And so, you know, I would take this opportunity, in conclusion, I take the opportunity to remind all of you on this 40th anniversary, on this upcoming 40th anniversary of Richard Nixon declaring the war on drugs, to join us in saying enough, that the war on drugs is actually a war on us. And we're not going to take it anymore. And part of how we're going to show the federal government that is through the grassroots power and energy and enthusiasm we put behind this bill that's going to come out this year. And I'm so excited to be here with you all to share that news and to share in the excitement of that moment. So thank you very much for having me today. And I would urge you to look at our website at schoolsnotprisons.org. Thank you.
All right, folks, I would love to have questions, but frankly, it's not fair to the final panel. We're already, I think, a half an hour late or something. So let's take, were we supposed to have a 10-minute break? I assume, Dale, you're still going to want to, whose panel is this coming up? Oh, it's Cowan's. Where's Richard? Richard, do you want to go right into yours? It might be better. I fear that if you take a 10-minute break, you may not see folks for a while. It's your call. You want to come on up, and we'll start the final panel. Thanks to these panels, and thanks.